How the bloody hell are we, guys? We are back Monday. So this is the last day, marks a week since we started this little series. We'll see how it ends off today, and maybe we'll keep going with, say, this one and that one, just so we don't kind of leave you in the lurch of what happened to those two boards, you know? So this one is filled, it's all kicked off and cured, so ready for a sand. This one, of course, has been ready for a sand for a few days, so that's kind of going to be today's priority. Get this all sanded up, see if it needs more resin, or if we can just carry on with our pinstriping. So what we might do first is start with these ones. I think I already said, but this one's actually, they've changed their mind, so they're not going to fix that anymore. They were buying it, and then they were going to pay to fix it, but now they've decided not to buy it, so they're going to take it back to the person who's selling it. But we have this one and this one, so we might prep those two boards, get them filled, and then while that resin is kicking off, we will begin our sanding with this one and see where we end up. Quick check up on our water balloon here, and of course it is still pissing water, and we'll check on that fin box, give that foam a bit of a squeeze, and as predicted, we still have moisture.
She's so damn
Wet.
wet, yes.
So this one's pretty straight up. It is just some cracking at the end of the box here, but it doesn't appear that the box has moved into the board. So we're just going to patch the box with some glass and get a hot coat on it. So we might actually be able to get all of the glass and resin on that board today. And then the JS is this nose ding here, which this chunk of foam was taken out by the testicles of our poor customer, which is just terrible. I've never imagined such a thing. But better him than me, I would say. And then there was a little split on the rail right side, just there. Nothing too major, just a little bit of a crack in the glass, so we'll touch that up as well. Well guys, we have done it. Congratulations to you guys and to me. That is 6 videos, 1 video every week for over a month. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope this series has been somewhat interesting. It didn't perform as well as I initially hoped, but from the feedback I've had from those that have watched this series, it's been useful. So that's good, and it's catalogued now, and after this one we can start getting back into regular programming, kind of one board at a time, you know. I think maybe this series has been tricky for some people because it doesn't have that immediate kind of, you watch it for 20 minutes and you get that before and after effect, and everybody is looking for that before and after effect, I think myself included. It's not something I really thought about when I started doing this series. But definitely glad I did it, and I'm glad some people have gotten something out of it, and it will be there for the future. So anyone who's interested in this type of sort of deeper look into my daily schedule will be able to find it. So job done, I say.
So damn wet.
So you remember this morning when I said we could possibly get that filled, glass on and hot coated today, ready for a final sand tomorrow. Well, that's now not going to happen because there is a serious amount of water in there. So I sanded the area and then I was just blowing it off. And as soon as I put any air on this area of the box, water started pouring out of here, here, and here. So I have rung the customer and said, look, we really need to pull the box out. We can't dry the board with the box in, and if I go ahead with the job, we're just going to be trapping water in there. And as water friendly as PU foam is in comparison to EPS, it's still not ideal to be trapping water in there. So it looks like we are now going to be pulling this box out. So because that's going to take some time, we may as well do our poly pour on old testicle nose here.
You don't mind the thing on the end of my nose?
Because then that resin can kick off while we're faffing around with removing that fin box. And then we may as well sand and prep the surf ski for its epoxy lamination as well. Should be a pretty straightforward dam here. We just need to make sure that the tape is flat at the bottom of the board, and then we don't want the tape to fold into our crevice. So we're going to carefully fold it up like so. We're better off having more resin here, so extending that rail line, because we can always sand resin away. So when I'm pushing the tape down, I only ever push on the existing rail up to the area we're trying to fill. And then we can't really pour the resin as it is because it's all going to drain this way. So we need to raise the tail of the board and try and flatten that nose out as best as we possibly can. So I had this comment from Ding Dang Surfboard Repair last week, and I did answer it on the live stream on Thursday, but I thought I'd cover it in this video. So Ding Dang asked, is this a busy week, a normal week? I'm in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and I'm only a one-man band and can only do so much. I try not to take in any orders over a week's work. I get calls all week, but I'm limited to what I can do. I can bust out poly boards, but epoxy clogs the wheels. I like how you have a process. It helps. Love your work. Keep it up. Appreciate it, Ding Dang, and I'll answer your question again here in case you missed the live stream. So this wasn't really a typical week for me for two reasons. The first reason would be that this winter is easily on record as Small Kind Ding Repair's quietest and hardest winter ever. People here just don't have any money at the moment and they're not spending, so it's certainly not just limited to my business. Surfboard shapers around the country have really struggled this year. Retail is really struggling, so it's just a case of people not having money. But as well as that, this was my first week back at work after I got back from my 2 and a bit weeks in Australia. So although there were a couple of boards waiting for me when I got back from customers who dropped them off to me before I left, and they knew I was going away and there'd be a bit of a wait, but I was just kind of having work trickle in now that I was back. So about a week or 2 weeks after this, there was much more on the racks because I'd been back for a little bit, and so people were we were all back in the groove of them bringing me boards and me fixing boards. So luckily during this period I did also of course have that catamaran which is sitting out in the parking lot behind my work, and I did have, I can't remember, 2 or 3 surf skis in my shed at home from one of the surf clubs around here too. So certainly a quiet week, but busy enough to start things off. So she's out pretty neatly, and it kind of looks like by the time we've gone through the resin at the bottom of the box, there's not a lot of moisture left. So I've got this black tipped screwdriver here, which shows up moisture pretty well. So if I just push it into the foam, there's no moisture there. And doesn't look like there's any there either. So it seems pretty dry. We're still going to leave it for a couple of days just to be certain, but it looks like we've routed all of that wetness out. Oh, you can see there on that wall, there's moisture.
Wet.
So yeah, we're going to leave it for a couple of days.
So this is a great example of the difference between EPS and PU foam when it comes to water logging. So we have 2 boards on the horizontal rack now. The one I'm putting on now, of course, is PU, removed fin box that's waterlogged, and the one I'm holding there is our EPS, removed fin box and waterlogged. And as it turned out, the PU was actually fixed and ready before the EPS was dry.
So it saves you a little bit of pain on this board. We've pulled the tape, sanded it, and it was a little bit low just here. So we're going to retape it and fill this little low cereal bowl there. You can see it a little better from this angle, but there's just a low spot there.
So following on with Ding Dang's question, and the second part was kind of saying that, hey, I'm only one man and I can only do so much. So I hope this series has been useful as far as working on polys throughout the day and only doing your epoxy pours at the end of the day. I do my foam pours at the same time as well, and that way you don't have all these boards with curing epoxy all over the place when you're trying to get through those poly boards. So that's kind of the system I use, and it seems to work pretty well. And you can work on prepping all of those EPS boards during the day while you're waiting for your poly pours to cure or tack off and sort of get to a sandable stage. I used to make maybe 3 or 4 announcements each summer kind of season saying that, hey, my racks are full and I'm not going to take any more work for the next week or so. But I eventually stopped doing that because I felt like it was foolish to kind of give away work, you know, and send customers elsewhere when I can always use the money. It just takes a little bit longer to get through those jobs, and so as long as the customers have an understanding that, hey, I'm busy, so instead of 10 to 14 days, it might be more like 20 days. If they're happy, then I'm happy. So while we're waiting for our poly to kick, we're going to move back onto our epoxy surf ski. Our fairing paste is cured, so we're going to sand it, hopefully get it to shape first go, and then we can laminate it. But with all that said, of course, Ding Dang, where I live is very seasonal, so as they say, I've got to make hay while the sun is shining, and that is during the summer season, of course. It might be different where you are, you might have a really consistent flow of work all year round, it's kind of the same. So in that case, if you can only take on so much work each week, then yeah, do that.
So our burn is all sanded up and ready to be resin coated. As predicted, there are some pinholes around the really heavily damaged areas. Where we've sanded really hard, there's some exposed weave of the cloth. Some of it's my cloth, some of it's the original cloth. So we're basically just going to give everything a good thin layer but even layer of resin, and then we can start our next sanding stage at 240, and we can continue that until 400 wet, and then we'll be ready for our pinstriping.
So guys, if you have watched this series all the way through, then let me know what you thought. Let me know if you took anything in particular away from it. Even if you didn't like the series, let me know that as well, and tell me why. Maybe you want that easy before and after effect. Maybe it's too hard to keep up with all the things that are going on. Maybe you didn't like the talking points. Whatever it is, let me know. I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing, so it's all experimentation for me, and I want to know what you guys want to watch, because obviously I want you to watch my videos. So yeah, let me know if you have any suggestions and reasons you like this series or you didn't like this series.
Okay, with the last of the resin on our JS nose, and hopefully the last of our resin on the burn, just done the top side, we can pour our epoxy. We're going to do our first lamination on this sucker. As usual with these boards, we are dealing with this shitty ass logo here, so we're going to keep our lamination as small as humanly possible so that we've got some space for our hot coat, and we're not sanding this logo away.
I don't know what it is about these Sonic Surfcraft clubby boards, but they always seem to get dinged insanely close to that website which is painted on the side. And in all honesty, I don't even know why Sonic go to the trouble of putting the website on the side, because surely just the word Sonic and a big logo, if people are interested, they'll just Google Sonic Surfcraft and find the website. But these boards are more often than not dinged right next to that website, and it's very irritating.
That's it, another day dayed. I am out of here. So we got our final coat of poly on the nose of our JS. We got our lamination, a 2 ounce and a 6 ounce, so 8 ounces total. over the top of our surf ski ding. So tomorrow we will come back, we will final sand this probably first thing, just so we can get it back to the customer. Then we will get this one here sanded up and apply the pinstripes. Still got that catamaran that I'm working on outside, so that's sort of being worked on in between. And then we did have this one come in as well. It's a little Grommy HS and it has a severe crease through the middle of it, and on the other side a bit of a D-lam area around here. So we might be able to make a start on that one tomorrow as well. We'll check this fella again tomorrow, see how it's getting on with that fin box. Being poly might not take too long, so fingers crossed we can start it tomorrow. If not, more than likely the next day. Until then, guys, have yourself a nice evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Chee-hoo! So guys, I'm going to leave you here, and I just want to say again, thank you for watching the series. To those who have watched it, I hope it was useful. I hope you got something out of it, and always appreciate you watching and commenting and all the rest. A big thank you to my members as well. Appreciate you guys a lot. And basically the upcoming footage is from the Tuesday and the Wednesday, and we got all of those boards completed, aside of course from that one EPS board with the fin box and the crack in the rail. That did get done, but it wasn't dry for about another week, but we did get there eventually. For the little Grommy board with the crease, if you go to my channel and go to playlists, there is a shorts series called Fixing a Creased Board, and so that covered that little Grom board with the really gnarly crease from start to finish, so you're welcome to go and watch that as well, of course. So if you haven't already, guys, sit back, relax, crack yourself open a beer, and let's finish these boards off together. Appreciate you watching, guys. Have a good night or day, and we'll see you in the next one. Chee-hoo!